So, a very good evening to one and all, to all our followers here at the Buddhist Maha Vihara Facebook page. We are going live this evening from our Facebook page, both our pages, as a matter of fact, the Buddhist Maha Vihara public page as well as the Buddhist Maha Vihara official page. So, this evening we have Bante from Sri Lanka. His name is Bante Viharagala Pagngnaloka, and Bante will be talking on the subject of proper endeavors for life. He will discuss the importance of the Sama Vayama, how to lead a successful life. I will bring on Bante shortly. Good evening, Bante. Welcome to our show. Yes, welcome to Buddhist Maria's Facebook page. Let me read Bante's profile for those of you. At least Bante is with us for the first time on this Dhammadana series, and we would like to welcome you, Bante, and hope to have you with us more times in the near future. He's actually been recommended by one of our Bantes at the Buddhist Maha Vihara, Bante Sumangala, who's his good friend and his ex-classmate back in Sri Lanka. And this is his profile. Bante Viharagala Pagngnaloka was born in 1989 in southern Sri Lanka and was ordained in 2001 and was fully ordained in 2013. He received his BA Honours First Class degree in Buddhist Studies from the Sri Lanka International Buddhist Academy and Diploma in Buddhist Counseling Psychology. Currently, he's reading for his Master's degree in Buddhist Studies from the University of Thera. He works as a probationary lecturer in Buddhist Studies at the Sri Lanka Buddhist Academy in Sri Lanka. So Bante, without much ado, we'd like to invite you to start the Dhamma sermon, and hopefully we will have a good audience this evening. We have already got about 38 people. We'll probably have more by the time you start. So Bante, I'll hand over the screen to you. Yeah, Sadhu.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, and the Supremely Enlightened One. Good evening to all my Dhamma friends. Today, I'm joining you from Sri Lanka to share some Dhamma with you. From the very outset, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the management of Buddhist Maha Vihara, especially Mr. Tilak Leslie, for inviting me and having me here today. And very special thank should go to Venerable Bante Sumangala for recommending me for this Dhamma talk. Actually, when Bante Sumangala is one of my friends back in 2001. And we were together, learning together in the monastic education center. And today, I have selected proper endeavors for life. And that is my topic for today's Dhamma sharing. And we all know that the Buddha has taught this Dhamma to everyone. Before I start this Dhamma talk, I would like to draw your attention on the importance of this Dhamma, especially during this pandemic situation, COVID-19 pandemic situation. This Dhamma is of great help for everyone in the world, because we have been going through a crisis situation where we find no one there to help us. So if you have learned the teachings of the Buddha, if you have learned the Dhamma, now you understand the importance of this Dhamma. We know that Buddha has taught us the truth of life, truth of samsara, where he teaches us these Four Noble Truths. And when it comes to the Four Noble Truths, the fourth truth, which is the Magga, Satya, is very important. And when it comes to this Magga Satya, if not the fourth truth, Buddha talks about this Eight Noble Fold Path, which is to be followed in our life. And when we go through the teachings of the Buddha, when we study the teachings of the Buddha, we understand the importance of this Dhamma. And I told you we have to understand the importance of Dhamma. Now, why we should understand is that because now when we lead this life, we have to have the control over our, especially over our emotions. For example, now we are in the modern world, and we are in a very developed world. Now, if I take a vehicle, for example, now vehicles are made with sophisticated technologies, and however sophisticated the vehicles are, if these vehicles do not have the control, they are very powerful, they are fast. If they do not have the control, maybe over the speed, maybe the way we drive, if we don't have the control, that can be disastrous, right? That can be harmful. So like that, human beings are the most powerful beings in the world. Only a human being can be the Buddha. Only we all can be arahants, right? So human beings are the most powerful beings in the world. Now, when we think of our life, now we have emotions in our life, emotions, intentions. At the same time, we have this, with emotions, we have this thinking part, right? So this Dhamma taught by the Buddha helps us have the control over the emotions, which is very important. We are led by our emotions, we are governed, we are controlled by our emotions. Now, what happens if we do not have control over our emotions? For example, emotions are things that happen to us. Anger can be an emotion, hatred, jealousy, or whatever it is, they can be emotions and they happen to us. And whenever they happen to us, we tend to react, we tend to respond in different ways. How I respond can be different from how you respond to emotions. Now, during this pandemic situation, during this crisis situation also, so many emotions happen within us, happen to us. When they happened, how we react can define, how we respond to them can define our life. Now, this is where Dhamma is important. Now, if you have understood the importance of this Dhamma, you can deal this, you can deal very wisely. You can respond to this crisis as a person who knows Dhamma. So therefore, my dear Dhamma friends, Dhamma is very important for everyone to have the control over our emotions. Now, everyone has emotions. At the same time, everyone has a mind. Mind is the thinking part in our life. Now, what happens if we learn this Dhamma, if we study this Dhamma, instead of developing our emotional part, we develop our thinking part. When the thinking part develops, how we respond to our emotions differs. And we respond to our emotions, we react to our emotions wisely, as a wise person. So with this, I hope you all can understand the importance of Dhamma. Now, I was telling you that Buddha taught us this fourth truth, the Magga Satya. And in that Magga Satya, Buddha has, prescribed a path to be followed. And that path consists of 8 steps. And when it comes to the 8 steps, they are threefold in application. You all know that Sila, Samadhi and Panya, ethical conduct, concentration, mental development and mental purification. Ethical conduct, concentration and wisdom. Now here today I have selected one step in the concentration section. Now there Samma Vayama, which is translated into English as right effort. Now when it comes to right effort, energy is very important. Energy means virya. Now energy can either be wholesome or unwholesome. Depends on what thought comes to you. Now when it comes to energy, for your energy to be wholesome, it should be supported by wisdom, if not right view and right intention. Now if your energy is supported by right view and right intentions, they can be actually they are wholesome states of mind. Now when it comes to the Samma Vayam, if not right effort, taught in the Noble Eightfold Path, Buddha has talked about 4 endeavors, which is my topic for today's Dhamma talk. Now, what are these 4 endeavors? Now, since you people have studied this Dhamma, you know them. Now, this is again important. Sometimes knowing Dhamma is not enough. There's a traditional way of preaching Dhamma in Sri Lanka, especially when a monk starts preaching Dhamma. What they usually do at first is giving them a proper instruction. Now in that instruction we usually share them Sunat Dhareta Charata Dhammi. And if I translate this into simple English, learn, realize and share it. Now Sunata means learning. How do you learn? How are we going to learn Dhamma? By listening to Dhamma, by reading Dhamma books, by watching Dhamma programs on TV. And there are different ways of learning Dhamma. The way is not important. What is important? You learn the Dhamma. Learning should be followed by realizing Dhamma. Knowledge should be understood. Knowledge without understanding can be dangerous. Knowledge with understanding is useful. So you learn Dhamma plus you understand Dhamma. Now when you understand, when you realize the Dhamma you have learned, what do? You usually practice it. Practice it means you follow Dhamma, you share it with others, you become compassionate, you become helpful, you try to meditate, you try to calm your mind, you try to observe precepts and you try to keep them. So that is sharing. For example, if you keep the 5 precepts, now it's a kind of sharing. You do not disturb the other people, you do not harm the other people, you do not steal, right? There are different precepts, so you protect them, you keep them, means you follow the Dhamma. At the same time you share it with others, you lead a very righteous life, virtuous life, means you share it, right? So this is really important. Learning it, understanding or realizing it and practicing, if not sharing it, is very important. So in the Noble Eightfold Path, the Samma Vayama, right effort, talks about 4 endeavors. I would say they are proper endeavors for a successful life. Now, if we look at where this Samma Vayama is located in the 8 Noble Fold Path, it is in the concentration section. Now, why concentration is important? Concentration is important for us to have the purification, purification in the mind. How can we have the purification in the mind? for us to have the purification in the mind, we have to see our mind. Now, when we try to see our mind, now there are two components, there are two qualities, states in our mind. They can be labeled as kusala and akusala, wholesome and unwholesome states in the mind. Now, when we go into Samma Ajiva, these kusala and akusala have two different sides. For example, if you take akusala first, of course, in our life we have developed, already arisen unwholesome states in the mind. At the same time, if we do not have the control of our emotions, unwholesome states which have not arisen yet can arise in the future. So Buddha in Samma Vayama, if not in the right effort, talks about this control plus development. So let me discuss one by one. So what is the first endeavor for a successful life? What is the first endeavor for our life? The first endeavor for our life is Sangvara Pradhana in Pali, which is translated into English as proper endeavor, if not endeavor, to restrain our faculties. Now we have 5 faculties and we should have the control over our faculties. And this control is not a denial. Sometimes people think, okay, if we want to control our senses, if we want to control our faculties, we have to deny them. We have to prevent our eye from seeing images, seeing forms. No, not something like that. Now, this comes with, understanding Dhamma properly. Now, in the first endeavor for life, if not in the first endeavor, if not Sangvara Padhana, Buddha talks about 5 forms that can arise in our life, maybe that have already arisen in our mind. So they are known as 5 hindrances. Now you all know them because you have studied Dhamma. Now simply they are 5 hindrances: sensual desire, ill will, dullness, drowsiness, and restlessness and worry, and doubt, skeptical doubt. So these are 5 unwholesome hindrances that arise in our mind. So they have been named as hindrances. Why? Because they hinder, they block our progress. Maybe our worldly progress, maybe our mundane progress, maybe our supramundane progress. So they block it. They prevent us from seeing the reality of life, from having the calmness in the mind. So therefore, in the teachings of the Buddha instructs us to have this first endeavor to restrain ourselves. So the first endeavor that we all as human beings should have is the endeavor to restrain, endeavor to control ourselves. So control with understanding, control our senses with the knowledge of Dhamma, control our senses with understanding the consequences of Dhamma, consequences of 5 hindrances. So for example, if we always try to go after material gains, that can lead our life to unlawful, unhappy states. So therefore, the teachings tells us, the Dhamma tells us to see this with wisdom, with insight. Now, when we have this proper endeavor, the endeavor to control our senses, the endeavor to restrain ourselves, there we do not let our mind arise unwholesome states that have not yet arisen in our mind. which is very important. Sometimes because of ignorance, because of unawareness, because we do not know Dhamma, we let our mind think whatever the mind wants to think, which is not good. Sometimes, as the teaching says, we are controlled by our emotions. We are controlled by our thinking. Sometimes, chittena niyati iti loko, right? Our world is led by our thoughts. So this is really important for us to understand. So in the first endeavor, if we understand this properly, we can avoid unwholesome states which have not yet arisen in our mind. That is the first endeavor if we can have our life. For example, if I put this into our practical life, day-to-day life, let's say I am not an angry person. I don't get anger easily. But because of something went wrong, because somebody did something to you, you get angry. Now you have never, got angry in your life. But because of this minor incident, you let your mind arise anger. What happens when mind, let you arise anger? That anger can come out. How can that anger come out? With bad words, bad actions. That anger can come out. So therefore, there you do unwholesome, unskillful deeds that are followed by bad results. So therefore, my dear Dhamma friends, first understand this. First endeavor for a successful life is to restrain ourselves, restrain our senses with insight. Restrain your senses not by denying them, but by understanding the nature of them, the consequences of them, and the suffering that they can bring into our life. That is the first endeavor. Okay, let me go into the second one. The second endeavor is Pahanapadana. What is this Pahanapadana? Pahanapadana means removal. What is the removal? Now, if we look at our life, now we have to look at our life, not the lives of others. If you listen to Dhamma, try to reflect on your life, not the life of others. Now, if we look at our mind, we can understand there are unwholesome thoughts in our mind which have already arisen. For example, maybe we are having anger, ill will, hatred, aggression, maybe so many bad things which are rejected by wise people. It's up to you to understand it. There are many bad things. I can't point out one by one. There are many bad things. For example, there's a person who constantly lies. Lying is a bad, unwholesome deed which has already arisen within you. So in the second endeavor for our life, it directs us to remove, to abandon unwholesome states in the mind which have already arisen within us. And this is again important because again here the importance of Dhamma comes into play. Because sometimes because of ignorance, because we do not know Dhamma, we may be committing bad deeds in our life. Maybe we lie, maybe we steal, maybe we commit different bad actions in our life. But when step by step we get to know the Dhamma, when we know the Dhamma, when we learn the Dhamma, we understand that Buddha has taught us a very simple way of life, a way of life that can bring happiness to you, to others, and to everyone. A way of life that can bring, spiritual advancements, supramundane happiness into our life. So when now this is again important. This is like you are driving somewhere and you get to know that the way is wrong. You are going through, you are going towards wrong direction. Now when you get to know it, when you know, okay, I'm driving towards wrong direction, what would you do? Do you keep driving towards that wrong direction, or would you make a U-turn? Simply, if you know that you are going towards wrong direction, you simply make a U-turn. You turn your vehicle and go towards the right direction. This is something like that. The second endeavor tells us about this U-turn. If you know, okay, in my life there are bad deeds which I have been doing over my life, over the years. Maybe there are many, lying, stealing, there are many things, right? So one thing that you can do here, if you know the Dhamma, if you have realized the Dhamma, is making a U-turn. You can make a U-turn. And when you make a U-turn, you know that this is wrong, and I have been doing this for a long period of time in my life, and now I know. For example, if you take a person in the teachings of the Buddha, Angulimala. Now Angulimala, was a bad person. He had been a bad person. He had been, killing people. But once he understood the reality, he stopped it. And after he stopped it, today we do not talk about his bad, evil, wicked actions. Today we talk about him as an arahant who attained the supreme bliss in his life. So that is really important. When we, for example, let's say you have a garden, you have a flower garden around the house, and you see beautiful flowers there, and at the same time you see some weed. What are you going to do? So you root them out, right? You root them out and throw it away. Maybe you burn them. Why? We do not like weed in my beautiful garden. So something like that in our life. So we have bad which has already arisen, maybe due to ignorance, maybe due to not having control over the emotions, maybe due to I didn't know Dhamma. So you have bad things in your life. One thing that you can do, the simplest thing that you can do, if you know them, if you understand them. So Buddha says, Janato passato asvanam kayang vadami. The one who knows sees. The one who knows sees it and abandons it. Now this is really important. First you have to know it. If you don't know, you can't see it. If you know it, you can easily see it. And the one who sees it can abandon, can erase, then can root it out from his or her life. So this is the second proper endeavor that as a person who follows the teachings of the Dhamma, we should have in our life. That is the second one. Okay, let's go to the third one. What is the third endeavor for our successful life? Third endeavor is Bhavana Padana. Bhavana Padana means cultivation, if not development. Now, what is the development? If we look at the first two endeavors, now these two endeavors talk about the unwholesome aspects, unwholesome sides, not letting your mind arise unwholesome states which have not arisen yet. That is the first one. And second one talks about removing unwholesome states in your mind which have already arisen. And when it comes to the third one, third endeavor for our life talks about this development. And that first two endeavors talk about unwholesome states which you have to control, which you have to delete in your life. remove in your life. And third and fourth endeavor talks about the positive side. First two endeavors talk about negative sides which we have to control and remove in our life, and the third and fourth endeavor talks about positive, if not wholesome states, wholesomeness in our life. Okay, let's discuss those two also. Okay, third one, bhavana padhana, if not endeavor to develop certain qualities. Now, if you understand that bad is bad, good is good, you have to, remove bad from your life. At the same time, you have to develop good in your life. Now, if you look at the advice of the Buddhas in the world, do not do any evil, not to do any evil, and develop what is wholesome. Develop what is wholesome and purify yourself. Now, development is very important for everyone, especially mental development. Sometimes today, in I don't know how it goes in Malaysia, but in Sri Lanka, if I take for example, our people tend to develop this body, build our body, but what is important is not building our body. Mind building is very important. Rather than developing our body, mind building is very important. When you have mind development, mind building, that gives you the control that everyone needs. The control over your emotions, the control over your life, the control that you have to have during a situation like this, during a pandemic situation like this, during a crisis. So that can give you that control, that can give you that important element in your life. Okay, in the Bhavana Padana, third endeavor for a successful life, Buddha talks about developing, when it comes to development in the teachings of the Buddha, it can be, different things according to the teachings of the Buddha. We can develop for for establishment of mindfulness. We can develop for Brahma Viharas. There are so many things, but especially Buddha has stressed out the importance of developing 7 factors of enlightenment. 7 factors of enlightenment. So there are 7 factors of enlightenment which are known as Satta Bojjanga Dhamma. So first one is Sati. Sati means mindfulness. Now in our life, we have to have mindfulness. We have to know the situational, we have to have the situational awareness. What is going around, what is going within, what is happening inside, what is happening outside. So we have to have the mindfulness, Sati. We call it Sati Sabbojjanga, Sati. And second one is, now if you are mindful, if you have situational awareness, now we can easily go into the investigation of phenomena. We can go into Dhamma Vichaya. What is Dhamma Vichaya? Dhamma Vichaya means investigation into the phenomena. Now, there are many things happening. We don't know the nature of it. We don't know the characteristics of the particular phenomenon. And if we have mindfulness, if you have sati, you can see what is happening. You can reflect on what is happening. So that is investigation into phenomena. Investigation into Dhamma. We call Dhamma Vichaya. And the third one, energy. Now, energy is important for us to have the investigation into the phenomena. And with that energy, you understand what is bad, what is wrong, what is right, what is wholesome, what is unwholesome. Now, you try to reject what is unwholesome. At the same time, you always embrace the good in your life. You learn Dhamma, you understand Dhamma, you realize Dhamma, you share it with others, you practice Dhamma. And with that energy, you need energy to reject what is bad. You need energy to accept what is good. And with that, you get piti, rapture, is a kind of happiness that you can have in your life. And the other one is passaddhi, is the calmness in your mind. If you know what you are doing, if you know the capacity, if you know your goodness, if you know your right side, if you know what is right, if you know what is wrong, you can have the calmness in your life. With that calmness, you can go into concentration, samadhi sabbojjhanga. With concentration, you can go into upekka sabbojjhanga, equanimity. So these are the qualities taught by the Buddha. Now this is the third endeavor if we can have in our life. Now think of these qualities. Now remember, first one, sati sabbojjhanga, mindfulness. Mindfulness in our understanding, in the mind, situational awareness. Then with the situational awareness, we should go into investigation into phenomena. We have to be aware what is happening within you, outside in the world. We have to know, and we have to have a clear understanding. For that, you need energy. That is Virya Sabbojjhanga. Then Piti Sabbojjhanga, Passaddhi Sabbojjhanga, Samadhi Sabbojjhanga, and Upekka Sabbojjhanga. So these are very important. Now, one of the discourses in the Majjhima Nikaya, Buddha talks about the importance of developing these seven bojjhangas, seven factors of enlightenment. Buddha says, if you develop them, Viveka Nissitang, the one who develops these seven factors lives by means of, seclusion. The person who develops these seven factors of enlightenment, mindfulness, investigation into phenomena, energy, then rapture, then calmness in the mind, concentration, and equanimity, upekka, he lives by means of seclusion. He's not a busy person. He doesn't have drowsiness. He doesn't have restlessness. He's very calm person. He's very peaceful person. So Buddha says the person who develops them lives by means of seclusion. And again Buddha says viraga nissitang. Second quality, viraga nissitang. The person who develops these seven qualities in life lives by means of dispassion, disattachment, dispassion. Now we always run after material gains. We always run after craving. We always develop cravings in our life. But Buddha says the person who develops these seven factors of enlightenment, lives by means of dispassion, which is very important, which can give us the inner peace, insight. And again Buddha says, Nirodha Nissitang, the person who develops these seven factors of enlightenment, Nirodha Nissitang, lives by means of cessation. What is cessation? Cessation is Nirodha. We are not, caged in this world. We are caged because of our defilements. We are prisoned. We are in a prison because of our emotions, because of our defilements. Buddha says the person who develops these seven factors of enlightenment lives by means of cessation. And last one, Buddha says, Vossagga Parinaminti, the person who develops these seven factors of enlightenment lives by means of letting go. Now, what happens in our life if we do not have the control, if we do not have the understanding? Of course, they come. How do they go? They go with all the defilements that are lying within us. But Buddha says the person who develops 7 factors of enlightenment lives by means of letting go. He is ready to let anything go. In our case, sometimes if we do not have the understanding, we can't even give up any thought in our mind. Mere offerings, if we can't give them in our mind, if they can't give them up, giving is something else and giving up is something else, totally different. So giving up is the wholesome side, which is very important. Giving up is kusala. So Buddha says this is the third endeavor for a successful life, according to samma ajiv, samma vayam. And when it comes to the fourth one is anurakkhana padana. What is anurakkhana padana? Anurakkhana padana means endeavor to perfect, if not endeavor to safeguard ourselves. Safeguard from what? We have to protect the mental states. For example, these 7 factors of enlightenment, we have to perfect them, we have to develop them, practice them until we have the full maturity, perfection in our life. Now, this is the fourth endeavor. For example, if you keep the precepts, we have to keep it during our lifetime. If we practice Dhamma, if we listen to Dhamma, we have to keep doing it. We can't stop it at a point of our life. We have to keep doing, keep practicing. That is where we can go for a maturity. That is where we can go for a perfection. So Buddha talks about as the fourth endeavor for our life, Sangvarapadana, the perfection, if not developing them until we have the maturity. So according to the teachings of the Buddha, according to Samma Vayama, so these great endeavors, I would say proper endeavors, are very important for our life, because first 2 are very harmful. Letting your mind arise unwholesome states which have not yet arisen. If you let them arise, that can harm you. At the same time, if you do not remove the unwholesome states which have already arisen in you, that can again be harmful to you. At the same time, that can harmful to others as well. And they are very harmful to our life. At the same time, they are harmful to the people around us also. And the third and fourth qualities, endeavors, are helpful for everyone, for you first, at the same time for the people around us. So therefore, my dear Dhamma friends, since we have limited time, I would stop here, and I wish that this knowledge shared by me will be important for you to improve your Dhamma knowledge. With that improvement, you can realize this, and you will be able to practice this in your day-to-day life. With that, you will be able to have proper endeavors in your life where you are able to and not let your mind arise unwholesome states which have not yet arisen. At the same time, you are able to remove the unwholesome states of mind which have already arisen in your mind. At the same time, you will be able to develop wholesome states, especially 7 factors of enlightenment in your mind, which can give you the inner peace, the insight. At the same time, you will be able to perfect them until you have the maturity, full perfection. And thank you very much for listening to this Dhamma talk.
Thank you, Bante, for the very interesting and very deep Dhamma discussion that we've had. We've got 2 questions from the audience. I will throw those questions onto the screen now.
Okay, the question is we are living in a very materialistic life today. How to lead a more balanced living by being more spiritual and religious? Yeah, this is. Thank you very much for this question. This is a problem that most of the people are having, are facing today. Now, it is very important to have a balanced way of living. Now, let me quote one of the suttas in the teachings of the Buddha to answer this question. Now, the name of this sutta or discourse is Dvichakku Sutta. Dvichakku means two-eyed person. Now, Buddha says there are three persons in this world. One is blind person. Second is one-eyed person. Third is two-eyed person. Who is this blind person? Now, blind doesn't mean that he doesn't have eyes. He can't see. He doesn't have vision. No, he has vision, but he does not have either material progress or spiritual progress. Now, when we lead our life, of course, money is important. Material gains are important, and we have to keep in our mind material, though they are important for our life, material gains are important for our life. We have come here, we have been born here for a very short period of time. One day we have to leave this life and reflect what you have collected to take with you, what you have accumulated to take with you. Remember, both good and bad you have collected. And if you always run after material gains, I am again repeating, we need material gains, we need money, we need material comforts. At the same time, we have to remember we are here to die, right? One day we will die. Everyone dies, and when we die, we know that there is a life after this. So, and that life may be blissful, may be lawful, depends on how you live and what you collect in this life. Therefore, my advice to you, don't be a blind person who does not have either material progress or spiritual progress. So Buddha says there is another person in this life, one-eyed person. The one-eyed person has only material gains. He doesn't have any spiritual advancement. Now here, spiritual advancement refers to sharing, caring, being compassionate, having empathy, having compassion in you, right? Helping others. So these are very important. At the same time, you have to have developed mindset. You have to have a control mind. So that is, one-eyed person has only the material gains. He doesn't have spiritual gains. And Buddha talks about third person who is Dvichakku. Dvichakku person has both eyes. One eye means first eye means material gains. Second eye means the spiritual gains, where you have developed good humanity, where you have human qualities in you, where you are ready to help, ready to care, and ready to accept the worldly conditions in your life. There are worldly conditions, vicissitudes which we can't avoid. So if you have this balance between material gains and spiritual advancement, I think that is where you can have a balanced life by following the teachings of the Buddha. Yeah, there is another question: how to develop mindfulness so that we can see unwholesomeness before it arises in our mind. For example, when anger arises, it is so fast that when we realize it, it might be too late. Yes, this is again important question. Thank you very much for put forward in this. And yeah, this is again talks about our reflection. Now, the advice of the Buddha is sachitta pariyodapana. Do not do any evil, and sabba papa sakarana. Do not do any evil. Kusalassa upasampada. Develop wholesome, and sachitta pariyodapana. Purify yourself. Now, first you have to understand yourself. That's why Buddha says, Janato passato asavanam kayang vadami. The one who knows, sees. The one who knows, sees, eradicates. Now remember, we have to see ourselves. We can't see ourselves. Why? Maybe because of these 5 hindrances. Maybe because of sensual desire. Maybe because of ill will. Maybe because of drowsiness, dullness. Maybe because of restlessness and worry. Maybe because of doubt. So Buddha says, no, see yourself first. How can you see yourself first? You have to develop Dhamma. You have to learn more and more Dhamma. You have to practice Dhamma. This is like in the teachings of the Buddha, there are 3 steps how an unwholesome state of mind can come out. Now, Anusaya Vitikkama Pariyuttana. Now, Anusaya means dormant defilements lying within us. They are lying within us. And Pariyuttana means these dormant defilements which are lying within us, arise. It starts up. And Vitikam means they outburst. They come out. How do they come out? They come out with worldly actions, verbally actions and bodily actions. So there Buddha talks about this Sila Samadhi Panya, 3 steps, practice. Sila, control your bodily and verbal actions. Samadhi, develops your concentration. And Panya, wisdom, purifies your mind. So therefore, I think when this is where mindfulness is important. If you have mindfulness, when an unwholesome thought arises in your mind, you investigate it. You try to reflect, oh, what is this? Okay, this is anger. Okay, there are many techniques, taught by the Buddha. If you have anger, to abandon it, to eradicate in your life. So, for example, if you know that you are easily, you are hot-tempered, so don't be in situations which can make you angry. For example, if you know that being here can make me angry, being here can make me, hot-tempered, so leave that place. Do not be there, and try to control your anger, try to eradicate your anger. For example, if you like, I can recommend a nice sutta for you. There's a nice sutta in Majjhima Nikaya called Kakachupama Sutta. Please read that sutta, and you will get to know more about controlling and eradicating the anger that lies within us.
Thank you, Bante. I think we've come to the end of this evening session. We have only had 2 questions this evening. We would like to take this opportunity to thank you for taking your time off your busy schedule. I know you're a lecturer in the university, and for being with us this evening. So before we end, can I request that Bante will do the Anumodana and transference of the merits to the Devas as well as to the departed beings?
Okay, so let us transfer the merits that we have accumulated by listening to the noble teachings of the Buddha to the deities who protect this world. At the same time, the dead and gones for their successful life in the lives they have born to. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu loka sasanam ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවා නාග මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු ධම්ම දේශනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවා නාග මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු ත්වං සදාති ඉදම්මේ ඥාතීනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදම්මේ ඥාතීනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදම්මේ ඥාතීනං හෝතු Sukhita hontu ñātayo. May all beings in the world be happy, well and peaceful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bante Pagngnaloka, for being with us this evening. So on behalf of the Committee of Management and also all the monks at the Buddhist Maha Vihara, let me take this opportunity to once again thank you for being with us, and also to the sponsor for this evening's Dhamma sharing, and also to all of you who had joined us this evening. Just as before we end, I'd just like to inform you that tomorrow, Saturday, on the 27th of June at 8:30, we have Bante P. Pagngnaloka Thera from Sri Lanka, who will be with us to give a Dhamma sermon entitled The Correct Way to Take the Three Refuges. I think many of us know how to take the three refuges, but I think Bante will be explaining a bit more deeper as to how we should actually be taking the three refuges. So be with us tomorrow evening at 8:30. This is a special program. Normally we have our programs only on Fridays and Sundays, but we have managed to get Bante Pagngnaloka because he's very busy, and his only time available was tomorrow. So hope to see you tomorrow. And also once again, thank you, Bante, and have a good, pleasant evening. Sadhu.
Thank you very much, sir.